various parts of the state capital, supporters of the APC were seen dancing around the streets, carrying the APC flag in celebration. Plateau State now has a record of producing 2 national chairmen of political parties, with Solomon La as the first People's Democratic Party national chairman, and now Nentawe Yilwatda as the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress. Well, let's talk some more about this. Joining me is All Progressives Congress chairman in Cross River State, Alphonsus Eba. Also joining us is a chieftain of the APC in Benue State, Daniel Onje. Let me begin with you, Mr. Eba. You know, many had actually thought that perhaps the APC NEC would consider ratifying the role of Ali Dalori, who stood in acting capacity following the resignation of Abdullahi Ganduje. What do you think necessitated the nomination and now appointment of Professor Yilwatda?
First, let me thank you for the opportunity to join in this program and to use this moment again to express our condolences over the death of our late former president, Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. Mr. President, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a listening president. If you ask me what necessitated this, it has to do with the earnest yearnings and desire of all our party members across religious and ethnic divide. First, to return back to the status quo that existed on the 26th day of March 2022, when the North Central Zone had one of his sons, His Excellency Abdullahi Adamu, emerged as the national chairman of our great party. So in realizing this desire and the concerns raised shortly before the election to balance in terms of geopolitical linings and other religious divides, and the desire of most younger persons in our party to bring in a man with vigor, with vitality, who also understands the political contours within the electoral experience, we decided to bring not just an ordinary human being, but a professor who knows it all, who has once been a resident electoral commissioner in Benue State of INEC, an engineer who himself has used the proper lexicons that is bringing every party leader as a mechanic to take the vehicle of the party as a proper vehicle that we all must have our hands on deck to fix in case there is any galloping political crisis. A young man in his own right, that is the caliber of person that has been brought. He just managed the humanitarian affairs. He has a heart that would be very caring, and he has come with a task to expand the party and to bring in more members. These are some of the underlying issues that had to lead to the yearnings of equity, justice, and fairness to consider this request.
I hear you, Mr. Eba. Let's now bring in Mr. Onje, who is on ground in Benue State, one of the states where Professor Yilwatda had served in another capacity in the past. What does the emergence of Professor Yilwatda mean for the North Central geopolitical zone where you are from?
Yeah, his emergence of Professor Nentawe, you know, was greeted with lots of excitement because, one, justice has been served. The chairmanship originally belonged to the North Central, and the leadership of the party, in its own wisdom, has considered it right to retain it or maintain the status quo. You will recall that Abdullahi Adamu from Nasarawa State was elected into the office, and somehow along the way, change came, and Ganduje was became the national chairman of the party. So now, for the position to be returned back to the North Central, we are indeed thankful to the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for ensuring that all interests are carried along in his government. We are grateful, and it is our earnest hope and belief that with the youthfulness and vigor of Professor Nantawe, he is going to bring to bear his experience, even from the academia, where he was a lecturer at the Federal University of Agriculture, Makurdi. For us in Benue, we are very, very glad and happy that someone who has lived with us is the national chairman of the party.
All right, Mr.
Even more so that...
yes, we can go on and on talking about that, but there will still be opportunity for you to, talk about his characteristics that you believe, he would bring to bear as a leader of the party. Turning now to Mr. Eba, both you and Mr. Onje have spoken about the youthfulness of Professor Yilwatda, but then that is also another point of concern for those who think that he's new to the game and perhaps, may not have the requisite knowledge to manage internal political wranglings, especially as we head to the 2027 general election. What would you say to people who doubt the capacity of Professor Yilwatda, especially being someone who is perhaps new to the game?
I have always told people I have been privileged to find myself in leadership positions. And the best quality for leadership is not the number of years of Methuselah that is needed, but that wisdom which Solomon himself at a youthful age exhibited. So the virtue of humility, the virtue of honesty, and the virtue of hard work is all that is needed in a leader to succeed. I have seen Professor Nantawe, a man I have been around with, who've had the opportunity of going around some states to conduct primaries for this party. And I have found in him a man that has a requisite experience to manage this. Having been a former rec of INEC, a lecturer that rose to the level of a professor, leadership has always been around him. He was to be our governor. He was our governorship candidate in Plateau State in the last election. It was even reported that he won, but he's not a man that is given for desperation. He let that to be, and today the will of God has just smiled on him. Let me prove all known critics who might want to take that direction to please allow the focus of this man to be seen from what he has been as his trajectory.
All right.
And as he starts his work and as he has started today, we know that he will deliver. We are happy. Every member of the party is happy.
I hear you.
Emergence.
I hear you, Mr. Mba. And going to you now, Mr. Onje. Mr. Eba just spoke about a focus. What do you consider priorities for Professor Yilwatda as new national chairman of the APC?
Well, I think first of all, he will need to consolidate the unity among members in the party, because so far in the country, APC seems to be the most organized and united party in Nigeria. So all he needs to do is to consolidate on that, look into the areas of concern for party members, particularly those who toiled and worked hard for the victory of the APC in 2023, that may have one or two grounds in the areas of compensation. It should adequately look into that area across the country. There are so many people who believe in President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, even though they have not been duly compensated for their effort, but they are still keeping faith with his leadership because of his personnel. They like him and they believe in him. They know that he has the requisite political will to turn around the social, political, and economic fortune of this country.
All right.
But yeah, so I think that is the first step he needs to take, because the party is in good shape.
All right, Mr.
All he needs to do is to consolidate the unity of members by paying attention to the challenges.
I'm afraid that's the more time will permit us to accommodate at this time. Daniel Onje is the chieftain of the All Progressives Congress in Benue State. Thank you very much for your time on TVC News at 7. And Alphonsus Eba is chairman of the APC in Cross River State. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Our pleasure.
Still